to my channel. This is Sugar with Sugarmoon. How you guys all doing? I hope that you guys are all having a beautiful day, night, wherever you guys may be in the world, and I hope that you guys are taking care of your energy as such. Right now, currently, I'm filming just a little bit later in the day, so I have a light up and set up and everything like that. I'm also in my room. Again, it's still a lot of storms going on right now in the world, as well as it doesn't really feel like summer at all. Like, I look outside and it feels like a typical Washington day. So if you know the Twilight series where it's like rainy and gray and just cold and wet, that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. And so I'm like, wow, we're entering July and we're still dealing with this. So it's okay. It's okay, because I know there's in other parts of the world right now they're also experiencing the same things. I know in Japan for sure that it's known as typhoon season, or the rain season, which is around June, July, around then. But anywho, so it's I made mention, if you guys haven't seen any of my previous videos as such, I explained a little bit more about it within the last video that I just did. Lately I've been catching up with a lot of twin flame stuff as well, and a lot of soulmate, higher vibrational connections, I guess. So lately Spirit's been wanting me to talk about that quite often, but I just wanted to say to you guys happy first day of July as well, and I wanted to give a quick shout out and a thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, liked, shared my videos, those who also follow me on Instagram as well. I just wanted to give a big shout out and just say thank you, to everybody who shows support within this community. This channel now marks about a year old. Now, my goal for this channel was basically, or my intentions were kind of all over the place, but my main intention was for sure to share my gifts on here, to make sure to help raise the vibration for everybody, to be more vulnerable, to be able to share aspects of myself and my life and certain gifts and stuff like that that I was ashamed of. Typically, a lot of light workers and empaths and a lot of people who are especially going through their spiritual transformation, not a lot of them like to share that journey or that experience, but I really think that a lot of people should. I think a lot of people should actually share more of their voice and their experiences, even if you feel like your voice is shaking or if you're nervous, But it's just, it was a massive push, and if someone were to tell me that I was gonna be on here doing YouTube, doing tarot readings, doing Instagram as well, I would have not believed them. Especially if you told me 2 years from now I was a completely different person. The person that you're seeing right now, that I'm recording right now, is completely different from the person 2 years ago. So she was a lot more sadder, a lot more lower vibrational. I know that I like to show a little bit of my moments when, of course, because I'm human, we always have our ups and downs. I'm not going to be on the steady climb all the time. I have my moments too, but sorry, like I said, my camera likes to shut off after a certain point. So as I was saying is that just back then, I'm just a completely different person. I can't be on the steady climb all the time. I'm also learning just as much as you guys are, and I also seek for guidance just as much as you guys do too as well. But for sure, it's been a weird year. I would say this year went by so fast since I started this channel, which was around this time, June-ish, July. Around that area. And back then I used to be very like I said before on my first video, I wanted to do YouTube since I was 12 years old, but I put it off for quite some time due to insecurities, due to listening to others' opinions. I'm hearing a ring in my right ear. Kind of falling for the judgment of others, etc. And I kind of wish that I could go back in time sometimes, just tell my younger self it's okay to be yourself, it's okay to share this part of yourselves, and even if people are not going to take it right or correct, or they don't agree with it per se, it doesn't mean that you are a bad or horrible person or whatever. It just means that your purpose is a lot different from them. And it's just to be more kind to myself. I reflect back from a year now, and the reason why I'm reflecting is because I'm more so grateful for the experiences that were presented in my life, whether it was seen as negative or positive. I almost lost my life several times due to fucking with karmic veil, as well as like going through my transformation. But I won't take back any of my experiences. I don't regret any of them whatsoever. It's just I'm feeling like a sense of gratitude in a way, as well as a little bit of sadness. To be honest, like I feel like, yeah, not everything is exactly where I would want it to be right now, but I'm perfectly happy with the way things are and the way the things that have already happened, if that makes sense. Like it could be better, but I couldn't ask for anything more, if that makes sense, you know? And I feel like I'm a firm believer of things happening for a reason, and I feel like a lot of things in my life happened for a reason, and for me to, especially the times where I almost lost my life, a lot of people can relate to that, especially within the spiritual journey, because part of the spiritual awakening is that sometimes people hit rock bottom or have near-death experiences and stuff in order to make them wake up, and it's quite intense, okay? No one said that a spiritual awakening process is gonna be like, woo, you know, roses and sunshines and dandies. I mean, it does come with that, it does, but we also have to like accept the fact that there's the other side of the coin of that. So, and both are perfectly okay. Alright, and I did make mention of me going through several tower moments and certain life events throughout the weekend, and the last time I went through huge life events was around this time of last year, during the lunar eclipse season. I will touch a little bit more about my personal story as far as like how I came to start doing YouTube, how I started to get into the spiritual awakening, as well as like when I found out about the twin flame journey, because this also marks my 1 year of being on the twin flame journey and learning about it as such, okay? So last year in the beginning, let's just start from last year. I'm not going to go further than that because there's just so much that's happened. But let's just start from January. Now, it was kind of rough and rocky. I was in a different place in my life. I was working for a school district, basically, 2 different school districts throughout the year. But as much as I loved the career aspect, there was nothing wrong with the career or the people that worked there. It just so happened that it just wasn't a fit for me, even though I felt like it was. Like I was kind of forcing it and pushing it in a way, because I loved being around kids. Like that's something, a passion for me, is that I love to be around children. I love helping the youth, especially those that struggle with mental health issues as such, or home life issues or child development. Like I'm actually into that as well. But I am very passionate about children. It's just so happens that that type of job environment or that certain place was just not fit for me, wasn't for me whatsoever. So I just decided, okay, it was a push and pull back. I ignored all the red signs that spirit gave me, and so it just resulted into a lot of chaos, a lot of hospital visits, in and out of hospital. I was known to get sick quite a bit, because I am a firm believer that energy can transfer and transmute into a sickness if you do not let go or purge correctly that is needed within your life. So that's why I always am an advocate for letting go of the people, places, and things that aren't serving you, because sometimes they can be very detrimental to your health entirely. And I've watched it happen to loved ones. I've watched loved ones lost their life over dealing with that type of karmic energy, as well as low vibration energy, as well like unhealthy coping mechanisms. I've lost people to that. So it's just, I'm very passionate about those types of subjects, and I was kind of finding out about my passions around then. And then fast forward around my birthday of last month, it was really extremely hard, because people who also know me know that my birthday is a big trigger for me. Anytime my birthday comes around, it doesn't matter what year or whatever, it's like I'm grateful for, it's not about the aging fact. I love aging. I think that it's great to age. I don't fear aging. I think that aging is a blessing. It's just that for me, when I dealt with, it was more so the notion that I, myself, as well as others that I've met before in my lifetime who dealt with suicidal tendencies as such, I never really seen myself getting past the age of 25. Like, I remember distinctly telling everybody I knew and myself that I won't be aging past the age of 25. I don't think I'll be able to make it whatsoever. And I literally dead set, and I was convinced that 25 years old is when I'm gonna go out, you know? And I don't know why 25. And it also became my favorite number as well over time, as well as the number 7, but I won't go into that. But when you dealt with suicidality, sometimes when you come across your birthday, you kind of feel like, wow, okay, it's another year where I feel like I don't have my shit together, or I feel like it's another year or reminder that I'm still here dealing with the same crap, same processes, same people, same things, same whatever. But I had to realize that I had full control or say so over what I do and my actions over my life. So nobody else did. And the thing is that I was handing my power off wrongfully, codependently, to others in order to place value on myself or to feel like I had some sort of place in this world. And it was more so like looking outside for validation rather than looking inward in that type of way. And it felt like my voice didn't really matter whatsoever, especially from the karmic relationships I dealt with in the past. Like, I through that year from January all the way to May, and then on before, I was in a karmic relationship. Now, it was quite toxic, especially on both ends. The thing is that I'm a firm believer of not putting blame on other people that are part of the party or part of the relationship. I'm a firm believer that everybody plays a part or a certain role on each side. So no, I am not the victim to any circumstances. However, I did not deserve the treatment that I had within those relationships. Okay, so it's like the notion of like acknowledging that you have your own toxic tendencies and stuff and things that you have to work on, but also realizing that certain treatment and wrongful mistreatment is not your fault or should be like deemed as okay, you know, just because you yourself have your own toxic traits. And the thing is that it's very hard to have a relationship or a healthy relationship with those that do struggle with mental health, especially if they're not in a balanced state whatsoever, or they're not getting the help that they need, or they're not helping themselves. Then I can see why that would be quite a struggle. And even me, someone that's dealt with mental health, knows that like it's hard, okay? But the thing is that I never felt like I want to give up on these people in a way, but it is important to create certain boundaries with these folks as well, even including myself. So the thing is that it took a while for me to understand, but when it was happening, I was in that victim like mode, like, why me? Like, why is this happening to me? Why do I always fuck up? Like, why is it like I'm always suffering? Why am I always getting left behind? It was like a lot of triggers, like a lot of like triggers would come up to the forefront, especially last year. Then when April rolled by, basically it was just not a good time, like not a good year. Not to mention that I had a family member close to me that was in the hospital during the time, having cancer, leukemia, and it just was really hard. Like, the thing is that I've dealt with loss most of my lifetime. I've lost a lot of people, both in this physical plane as well as those who transitioned over to the other side. So I always mention that loss is not something that's foreign to me. However, like, it doesn't make it easier anytime it does happen. Like, it just doesn't, it's not easier any other time. So, and it's not fun watching your loved one deteriorate over time. So it's just, thing is that, truth be told, is that yeah, we all carry some sort of baggage somewhat, but for me it's more so I had a hard time with me projecting my pain and my hurt onto myself rather than sharing it outwardly to others, into the world, like how I'm doing now. Like, this is my form of transmutation, being able to share this aspect of myself with you guys. This is my form of transmutation, as well as my creative endeavors as well, you know, things like that, other things outside of this. But I'm talking about right now, like back then, it would be more so in the form of self-harm, running away, you know, wanting to hide from the world, that type of thing, just feeling ashamed, feeling like everything was my fault, like the whole world, like the whole, like everything going to shit was because of my fault. And that's kind of like a weird, I look back on it and I'm just like, no, that can't possibly be all your fault, you know. But in my mindset, I was convinced that it was. And one thing for sure is that to keep the cycle going, I jumped out of one karmic relationship into another karmic relationship right away. And that was like, I wouldn't really call it, yeah, it is kind of karmic in a way. But the thing is I was so convinced this person was the person that woke me up to the twin flame journey. And that's why it confused me at first, because this is when around May, June, July, around that time, and I started really awakening to the twin flame journey. I started realizing what are twin flames, what are divine masculine, divine feminines, and I started like coming across like star seeds. What's that? You know, it's just going down the rabbit hole that everybody goes down in their spiritual awakening. But for some reason, like that, the twin flame journey always resonated with me the most out of everything, especially, and then also starseeds as well, and many other things. But twin flames for sure really resonated with me. And in the beginning of my journey, I was confused because, of course, you are like trying to find out more information, different sources, and then finding out that those sources are not good sources to get your information from, etc. So it takes quite a bit of time in order to kind of find your niche or kind of find your footing as far as that goes. But like, when I found out about twin flames, I was convinced that this one person that I was dealing with in the past was actually my divine masculine, and no one else could tell me anything. I was just really convinced, right? But then over time, I started to realize that, okay, it's not so good to really have so much high expectations on this journey. And that's when I started going through a lot of my karmic cycles, a lot of my releasing and purging, and oh my gosh, my codependency. Like, I was super codependent. Like like if you were to talk to me last year at the same time, I was just, yeah, like I said, a different person, and seeking validation and love outside of me rather than going inward and finding it within myself, etc. So it's a process, and I have a lot of compassion for people who are just finding out and coming into the journey, etc. But it also can be misconstrued because there's a lot of information out there that can lead you into the wrong direction, as well as lower vibrational beings out there who disguise themselves as light workers and lead you into the wrong directions. But I will not go into that as well. But the thing is that one thing for sure is that, like, it's not about who I thought it was more so me realizing that it was kind of me overall, like me all along, realizing the power lies within myself, not anyone else, not even my own divine masculine. It lies within me because he or she is me, you know. It doesn't matter the gender either. So after the lunar eclipse, around the same time of when this happened last year, is when I went into complete separation mode from that same person that I'm talking about. Because mind you, there was 2 major karmics that I dealt with last year. But one was a major, like, oh, that was like, I'm blessed and so happy. I also pray to God and the Creator. I'm like, thank you for like helping me out of that one, because that was, I almost lost my life. And even my family and my friends, those close to me, like, know like how detrimental that was and how sick and how bad it got. Like, yeah. So a lot of light workers can agree and relate to the fact of being in the hospital, or like being diagnosed with something, or going through therapy, or any of that matter. Like, it's totally relatable, and you know, my heart goes out to people who are dealing with that at this current point in time, because it's no bueno, it's no fun, it's not fun at all. And especially being told that you're crazy for all of that, especially on the twin flame journey, you're always going to get people are going to say you're crazy, what do you mean, like like that's not real, that type of thing. Like, and you just learn to really tune out the distractions and the karmic energy. But before, oh boy, I would walk my ass right into those karmic distractions as well. And also for the fact that I didn't really listen to my intuition or my gut feeling or just spirit in general. So I was just very hard-headed and didn't want to listen whatsoever. Even now I still have that issue, but not so much as I used to before. But like, like overall, ever since then, I've still been on my own separate journey. Like the person before, I was super heartbroken, and still, like, it was hard for me to kind of like move, like kind of like assess that or process it. Okay, because they kind of have names for that. They have, like, you know, your karmics, then you have your like karmic soulmates, or like your catalyst people who like catapult you into actual like union, you know, that type of thing. I've also heard of that term as well. Like a lot of people say that there are those that are just people who kind of like your transitioning type of point, that type of thing. But I think it's like, I don't, that's why I say don't even care about the labels. Like it doesn't even matter, the labels or anything. Like us humans put so much emphasis on labels and human I don't know. It's just, that's how we're able to communicate here on earth. But if we're able to telepathically communicate with everybody else, then that would be great, you know. But we're not at that point right now, vibrationally. So we kind of having to deal with, you know, speaking, you know, that type of thing. But there's room for miscommunication for sure. But like comes with the life journey. But anywho, I just learned over time not to put so much emphasis on labels, that to know that what it's in my heart is true, and that, you know, really with these types of connections, it takes for you to take a step back and actually ask the divine yourself, to ask spirit yourself, rather than to go through outside sources, you know, because especially if you really want to know the right answer, or the truth of the matter, is to really like stop. You don't have to like meditate or anything, but to just ask, like, hey, can you confirm or give me a synchronicity, show me this sign if this is like my actual, you know, twin flame, or if this is like my actual divine masculine or divine feminine, that type of thing. Because spirit will always give you answers to confirm, and they'll never get tired of answering you whatsoever. So don't feel ashamed or feel embarrassed if you feel like you need to keep asking spirit over and over again for confirmation. But sometimes we also need to realize and get to that point and to stop being so codependent on on basically like outside sources for confirmation for certain things. So what I mean by that is, like, for me now, I do not seek outside validation or sources or others in order to confirm if something is for me or not. I have to go through my spirit guides and my own team and my own self, myself included, and to sit back and to like quiet my mind and to really figure out what it is that I want, you know, rather than what it is that other people want from me or others want for me, that type of thing. So it's like you will always know what's best for you in your heart when you're going that direction. And this ties into exactly the last reading that I did for the twin flames. So if you're interested, please go ahead and check out my previous videos for the twin flames, because there might be some information and wonderful messages in there for you as far as that goes. But overall, ever since then, ever since I've been working on myself, etc., it's been hard, you know, but at the same time, I feel like it's all worthwhile. And I feel like I've always been in and out of relationships. I blame my Libra moon too. But I've been in and out of relationships for like since I was 16. And so now I like am enjoying this time to myself where I'm feeling free, you know, like I feel like the time spent that I was putting and expending so much energy into others, I'm now putting that same energy and love back into myself, and it feels so much better. Oh my goodness, like I'm and Cancer season makes me emotional. Goodness gracious, thanks Cancer. But like for real, like you'll start to realize why things panned out and happened the way that it did, because then you'll be like, oh, you know, I'm actually kind of thankful that that happened. Even though it hurt me to my very core, I'm actually really thankful that it happened the way that it did. Otherwise, I wouldn't be at this certain point. Like, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys or making videos or of that matter if I didn't take the course of direction that I did at the certain point in time, at the exact same point, at the exact same time of last year. So it's just, it's kind of crazy to think that, you know, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Like one small little action can create a huge reaction over time. It just starts with that one small step, you know, that one small move. And that's exactly what happened for my life. And taking that one small step to just share outwardly my experiences, even though I kind of am, like a lot of spirits, like, be honest, a lot of people like to think that I'm very mysterious and kind of closed off. Yeah, if you guys don't know the personality type INFJ, I guess that can kind of explain a little bit more about my personality type. But I don't, again, it's a label. It's, you know, it's not a definite, you know. But the thing is like, I get a lot of like mysterious energy. People have a hard time understanding my viewpoint or my intentions or where I come from. Even though like I feel like I'm a very easy person to read, just sometimes like even my own siblings say, no, you're not easy to read. You're not. Even my family has a hard time reading me, and it feels lonely, you know. But the thing is like, the only person who's supposed to understand me is me. It's no one else, even spirit. And that's all that matters. If spirit understands me and if I understand myself, then that's all that matters as well. And I sure as hell know that my counterpart definitely understands me for sure. But it takes for me to understand it first, you know. So other than that, I just want to wish you guys a lovely day or night. You know, I just kind of want to be a little bit more, you know, when I said that I wasn't going to see myself past 25, I'm 24 now. So, like, making it so next year, at this current point in time, now that would be a great milestone for me. Because I was so convinced from the ages of 19 all the way till 19 to 23, that is when I genuinely thought that my life was going to end at 25. And if it does, it does, you know. I'm not really afraid of death. In fact, I welcome it. I love death. Like, I've made friends and amends with death. Like, death is fine. But people think that's kind of creepy of me, but, you know, I respect death and life at the same time. So, me respecting death had a more appreciation for life as is. So, me gaining and having that second chance rather than losing my life and giving up at the time that I thought I was going to, it just makes me realize how strong I am and how strong a lot of you light workers are and how resilient you guys are and how much of a warrior basically you guys are. So give yourselves more credit, and I'm gonna give myself more credit too, because I am my worst critic, okay? I like fight myself all the time, and it's getting dark right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this off pretty soon. But I just really wanted to say thank you so much. Like, thank you to anybody who's commented or sent any positive vibes, to those who don't comment but still show support, for those that watch my videos, for those who take the time out to actually care for what I have to say. Like, that, it warms my heart, because I grew up in my life thinking that no one cared about what I have to say. Like, I have no voice, like, and I was very mute and icy and just very, like, not wanting to talk to people, very cut off-ish, like, very, and even now and then I still struggle with that, feeling like feeling misplaced, feeling like I don't belong here, feeling like, you know, no one understands me, that type of thing. But that is just an illusion, and there's many people out there who clearly understand me and understand where I'm coming from, because if I hadn't put myself out there, I wouldn't have met those people, those individuals who literally vibe and who are relatable to me as well. So even though it's been like a lonelier type of ride or a process, I feel like it's been well worth it, even throughout all this hermit mode, you know? And the purpose of this channel really was to just share aspects of myself for the whole collective, in hopes that it does raise people's vibrations, in hopes that it does inspire someone to go and do something that makes them happy, that makes their heart happy, you know? Just like, as much as I love making other people happy, you know, it's just my nature. I just like, you know, that type of thing. But to make people be more true and authentic to themselves. And if you're feeling sad, then you're feeling sad. If you're feeling mad, then you're feeling mad. If you're feeling happy, then you're feeling happy, you know? There's no need to deny those emotions and those feelings. It's because it's what makes you human. It's what makes you here. What makes you present, you know? And I appreciate people who can be vulnerable within themselves and others, and even if it's really hard, even if it's like something that goes completely against your nature, I believe everybody has the capability of doing so. It's just a matter of if you want to or not. Okay, but other than that, what I've taken from this experience and from being here on 1 year on YouTube, and Instagram's a little bit younger, you know, but 1 year on YouTube, like, thank you so much. Like, it's a celebration, and I wish you guys nothing but the most love, wealth, prosperity, abundance, doesn't matter. I'm giving you guys many virtual hugs as well, and I'm also sending you guys kisses and stuff all over the world to you, wherever you're at, day, night, doesn't matter, through any distance. Like, we're all connected and everything like that. So much love to you guys. I shall see you guys in my next video, and peace to you.